Most people who grow potatoes are leaving half their harvest in the ground, and they don't even know it. Someone right now is digging up a row of potatoes they spent months tending, and what they're pulling up is maybe a third of what that same space could have produced. The method they're using is over 100 years old, and nobody ever stopped to question it. What you're about to see changes that completely. Here's what most potato growers never figure out. Traditional row planting buries the stem once, maybe hills it twice, and calls it done. That's the entire problem. Potatoes don't grow from roots. They grow from underground stems called stolons, and every inch of buried stem is a potential tuber factory. The more stem you have underground, the more potatoes you harvest. Traditional planting gives you one buried section. This method gives you 4, 5, sometimes 6. Same plant, same seed potato. Completely different harvest. A standard plastic laundry basket is 18 to 22 inches tall, perforated on the sides and bottom, lightweight, portable, and costs under $15. Every one of those features serves a purpose. The height gives you vertical depth for repeated hilling. The side holes trigger air pruning, where roots that reach open air stop circling and branch back into denser, more productive networks. The bottom holes drain freely, eliminating the waterlogged conditions that rot tubers. The dark plastic warms the soil faster in spring, buying you extra growing days at both ends of the season. The portability is something no garden bed can match. Potatoes produce best when soil temperature holds between 60 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. In the ground, you have no control over that. In a basket, you can move the plant as conditions change. One basket, managed correctly, produces 20 to 30 pounds of potatoes. Roughly 15,000 calories from a 2-foot by 2-foot space. That is not an exaggeration. Before we go any further, if this is the kind of growing knowledge you actually use, hit the like button right now. It takes 1 second and it tells us to keep making videos exactly like this one. And if you found this channel today, subscribe. Every video here is built on real technique, the kind that shows up at harvest time. Now, let's keep going. Here is the complete process from beginning to harvest. Before anything goes into the ground, 2 things need to be sorted: the container and the seed potatoes. On the basket, any big box store carries them. Look for a sturdy plastic model at least 18 inches tall with perforations on the sides and bottom. Spend the extra few dollars for a quality one. The flimsy versions crack under the weight of wet soil and don't survive a second season. $8 to $15 gets you something that will last for years. On seed potatoes, this is where growers make an expensive and frustrating mistake. Grocery store potatoes are treated with a chemical sprout inhibitor specifically designed to prevent them from growing. Even when they appear to be sprouting on a kitchen counter, the inhibitor is still present in the flesh and will severely limit performance once planted. Certified seed potatoes from a garden center or online seed supplier are disease-tested, untreated, and bred for planting. A 5-pound bag runs $12 to $18 and fills 3 to 4 baskets. For this method, early to mid-season varieties that mature in 70 to 90 days work best. Yukon Gold is a reliable, high-yielding choice with dense golden flesh. Red Pontiac performs excellently in containers and stores, well through winter. Kennebec is another proven option with strong disease resistance and consistently high yield. All 3 are well suited to container growing. Soil selection matters more than most growers expect. Garden soil and topsoil dug from the ground compact heavily inside containers. Compacted soil suffocates roots, blocks drainage, and makes it physically impossible for stolons to extend through the growing medium. Actual potting mix is designed to stay loose and drain freely in a container environment. Plan on 2.5 to 3 cubic feet per basket, roughly 2 large bags. For a premium blend, combine 1 part peat moss or coconut coir, 1 part compost, and 1 part perlite. That mixture delivers excellent drainage, steady nutrition, and a structure that remains loose and workable throughout the full growing season. Fertilizer rounds out the supply list. Potatoes are heavy feeders with shifting nutritional needs across the season. Early on, they want nitrogen to push strong leafy growth above ground. As tubers begin developing, the demand shifts toward phosphorus and potassium. A balanced organic fertilizer in the 5-5-5 or 10-10-10 range handles both phases without overcomplicating the process. Compost and worm castings are excellent organic alternatives. Slow-release granular fertilizers are particularly convenient because a single application continues feeding the plant across several weeks. Fertilizer goes in at planting time and again during each hilling. About 2 weeks before planting day, which should fall roughly 2 to 4 weeks before the last spring frost in your area, take out the seed potatoes and begin preparation. Potatoes the size of a golf ball or a chicken egg can be planted whole. Larger ones need to be cut into pieces, each piece carrying at least 2 to 3 eyes. Eyes are the small dimples or bumps on the potato's surface where new sprouts emerge. Each cut piece should weigh at least 2 ounces. Pieces smaller than that don't carry enough stored energy to establish strong early growth. Use a sharp, clean knife for cutting. After cutting, set the pieces out in a single layer in a cool, dark location with good airflow. A garage shelf, a shaded corner of a shed, or an open cardboard box in a cool room all work. Leave them undisturbed for 24 to 48 hours. The cut surfaces will dry and form a callus, a thin protective layer over the exposed flesh. This callus blocks soil, fungi, and bacterial pathogens from entering the cut surface. Skip this step and the risk of losing 30 to 50% of planted pieces to rot before they even sprout becomes very real. The curing process is completely free and takes almost no effort. There is no good reason to skip it. Once the callus forms, pre-sprouting becomes an option worth considering. Place the cured pieces in a location with indirect light, not direct sun, at around 50 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Leave them for 1 to 2 weeks. Short, stubby sprouts will develop, ideally 1 to 2 inches long. These give the plant a developmental head start the moment they hit soil and can reduce time to emergence by a week or more. Any sprout that grows beyond 3 inches before planting should have all but the 2 or 3 strongest ones pinched off. Concentrating the plant's energy into fewer, stronger sprouts consistently outperforms letting a large number of weak ones compete. Location selection for the basket deserves serious thought. Once filled, it will weigh between 60 and 80 pounds, and relocating it becomes difficult. A minimum of 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight daily is required. More sun means more photosynthesis, which means more energy directed toward tuber production. On a patio, deck, or balcony, position the basket where it receives the longest uninterrupted light exposure through the day. In hot climates, a spot with strong morning sun and some afternoon shade protects tubers from excessive soil heat during the critical formation window. Planting begins with 4 to 6 inches of potting mix in the bottom of the basket. Level it out. Place 3 to 4 seed potato pieces on top of that base layer, spaced evenly and not clustered toward the center. Crowding pieces together forces the developing root systems and stolon networks to compete for the same underground space. Cover the pieces with 3 to 4 more inches of soil, burying them roughly 4 inches deep in total. Water thoroughly until drainage runs freely from the bottom holes. That initial watering settles the soil, closes air pockets, and activates the seed potato. Mark the planting date. Within 7 to 14 days, depending on soil temperature and variety, green shoots will break through the surface. That emergence is the signal that active management begins. Check the basket every 3 to 4 days. When the tallest stems reach 6 to 8 inches above the soil surface, it is time for the first hilling. This single action, performed on time and correctly, does more to determine the final harvest weight than almost anything else in the entire process. Add enough fresh potting mix to bury all but the top 2 to 3 inches of foliage. Most of the plant disappears under new soil. That feels deeply wrong the first time. Every instinct says the plant is being smothered. What is actually happening is the opposite. Burying the stem triggers the plant to produce a new flush of stolons along every inch of stem that just went underground. Each of those new stolons will produce tubers. The harvest potential just multiplied. Mix a 1/4 cup of balanced organic fertilizer into the new soil before adding it, so nutrition is available as those new underground structures develop. Let the plant grow again. When it reaches 6 to 8 inches above the new soil level, repeat the process. Cover all but the top 2 to 3 inches. Add fertilizer to the new soil. This hilling cycle repeats every time the plant gains another 6 to 8 inches of height. In a standard 18 to 22 inch basket, 3 to 4 hillings across the season is typical. Each one adds another productive layer to the container's depth. Continue until soil reaches within 2 inches of the basket rim. That gap at the top is intentional. Water applied to a completely full container runs off the sides before penetrating the root zone. The 2-inch space holds water at the surface long enough for it to soak downward evenly. Once the basket is full, hilling is finished. The plant takes over from there. Between hillings, the work reduces to watering and monitoring. Press a finger 2 inches into the soil. Dry at that depth means water now, slowly and deeply, until drainage appears at the bottom holes. Still moist means leave it. Containers lose moisture significantly faster than garden beds, especially in heat or wind. Daily watering can become necessary during peak summer. 3 to 4 days between waterings is often enough in cooler periods. The pattern to avoid is the cycle of soaking followed by complete drying, followed by soaking again. That inconsistency causes hollow heart, a condition where the tuber's interior develops an empty cavity. It also causes skin cracking and scab. Consistent moisture across the full season produces dense, clean, unblemished potatoes. Morning watering is preferable whenever scheduling allows. Foliage dampened in the morning has the entire day to dry. Foliage that stays wet overnight sits in ideal conditions for fungal disease to establish. Around day 60 from planting, flowers appear on the plant. Color depends on variety and ranges from white to pink to purple to pale lavender. Flowering is confirmation that tubers are actively developing underground. At this point, new potatoes are accessible without disturbing the main crop. Reach carefully into the top few inches of soil from the rim of the basket. Move slowly and avoid pulling at anything attached. Small potatoes, marble-sized to small egg-sized, will be within reach near the surface. Pull a few out and leave the rest. The plant keeps producing below while the harvested ones go directly to the kitchen. New potatoes at this stage have thin, delicate skin and a flavor that no supermarket potato can match. This preview harvest is one of the genuine pleasures of this method. The main harvest waits until the foliage begins yellowing and dying back naturally. That process begins between 90 and 110 days from planting depending on the variety. Yellowing foliage signals the plant drawing remaining energy downward into the tubers while the skin thickens and hardens. Skin thickness is what determines how long a potato stores. Thin-skinned potatoes bruise easily and rot within weeks. Properly cured, thick-skinned potatoes last through winter and beyond. When roughly 75% of the foliage has yellowed and begun wilting, stop watering entirely. Let the soil dry for a full week. That drying period finishes the skin hardening and makes the harvest clean and easy. For maximum storage quality, wait until the foliage has completely died back, then hold off another 2 full weeks. The potatoes sitting in dry soil at that point are essentially already in storage. That extra time is all skin hardening. On harvest day, choose a dry afternoon. Spread a tarp, a bed sheet, or a section of cardboard on the ground nearby. Tip the basket. The full column of soil, roots, and potatoes spills out. Potatoes appear from the top of the column to the very bottom, layered throughout the entire depth that was built over the season. This is the physical proof of what repeated hilling actually produces. Break apart the soil gently with both hands and collect every potato, including the small ones. Do not wash them. Washing strips away the protective soil coating and introduces surface moisture that accelerates rot during storage. Brush off loose soil by hand or with a soft cloth. Anything with a cut, broken skin, or significant bruising goes into a separate pile for use within the next week or 2. Everything else goes into curing. Curing is the step most home growers skip and later regret. Lay potatoes in a single layer in a dark, humid location with good airflow. A basement corner, an unheated garage shelf, or a shaded outdoor area with overnight temperatures above 50 degrees all qualify. Target 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit with humidity between 85 and 95%. Leave them undisturbed for 10 to 14 days. Minor surface cuts seal on their own. Skin continues hardening. A potato that looked borderline at harvest becomes a reliable storage potato after curing. One that skips curing and goes directly into a bin often doesn't make it to December. After curing, long-term storage requires darkness, temperatures between 40 and 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and airflow. A root cellar is the ideal environment, but most homes don't have one. A cool basement corner, a closet on an exterior wall, or a dedicated cooler managed with frozen water bottles all work as alternatives. Never use sealed plastic bags. Potatoes need to breathe, and sealed bags trap the moisture and ethylene gas that accelerate decay. Mesh bags, wooden crates, cardboard boxes with ventilation holes, or open weave baskets all serve the purpose. Check storage every 3 to 4 weeks. Any potato showing soft spots or dark discoloration comes out immediately before it affects the ones around it. Properly stored potatoes from this method carry through winter and well into early spring. The basket rinses clean, dries quickly, and stores flat for the following season. The spent soil, amended with a generous addition of fresh compost, can support other container plantings or rest and recharge for a fall potato crop. Some climates support 2 full crops per year, one planted in spring and one in late summer for fall harvest. A few failure patterns are worth knowing before the season starts. Plants that grow tall and leafy but produce very few potatoes are almost always receiving too much nitrogen combined with mist or late hilling cycles. Pull back on nitrogen-heavy inputs, commit to the hilling schedule, and confirm sun exposure is adequate. Any green coloration on harvested potato skin is a signal to discard that potato. Green skin indicates the presence of solanine, a naturally occurring toxic compound that develops when tubers are exposed to light. Consistent hilling keeps every tuber deep enough that light exposure never becomes a factor. Uniformly small potatoes across the entire harvest usually trace back to irregular watering or insufficient fertilization during the tuber development phase. Potatoes that rot inside the basket before harvest point to a drainage problem. Check that bottom holes are clear and unobstructed, and confirm watering is being held until that top 2-inch soil layer dries out between waterings. The laundry basket method works because it solves the core limitation that makes traditional row planting leave so much food in the ground. That limitation is burying the stem only once. This method buries it repeatedly, multiplying the underground surface area available for stolon development and giving the grower complete control over drainage, nutrition, and temperature throughout the season. 2 square feet of space, 1 basket, 3 months, 20 to 30 pounds of food. That outcome is repeatable for anyone willing to follow every step without cutting corners. Source the basket this week. Order certified seed potatoes before popular varieties sell out. Gather the potting mix. Get seed potatoes curing and chitting on the right timeline. Plant according to the last frost date in your area. Hill every single time the plant earns it. Keep moisture even from planting to pre-harvest drying. Then give the plant its full season before tipping that basket over. Share this video with someone who grows food or has been wanting to start. Subscribe for more growing techniques built on the same foundation as everything here. Real information, practical results, nothing wasted. See you in the next one.